Yo, what's up? My name's Patrouski, and I have a little over 10,000 hours within Pokemon fan-made games, with around 8,000 of them if you include alt accounts just being on PokeMMO, but I have played my fair share of Pokemon fan-made games over the past decade or so. You see, like any normal gamer at the time, I was obsessed with Googling franchises I enjoyed, like Pokemon, alongside other genres I enjoyed, like tower defenses or MOBAs. So I always ended up encountering quite a bit of strange online Pokemon fan-made games. But some of them, in my personal opinion, can be far better than traditional Pokemon. But today I'm going to consolidate 15 years of my gaming history into one video. I hope you enjoy. If you do, make sure to like the video or subscribe if you want to see more. The list is in no particular order, and the links for each game will be in the description. And number one on this list, you know that I have to cover it, it's gonna be PokeMMO. This is just the best way to play Pokemon with your friends, to play Pokemon competitively, if you're a casual player and want to re-experience Generation 1 through 5 alongside friends. If you're a hardcore player, want to put your head down and grind to be some of the most respected and revered players on the server with hyper rare shinies and super expensive vanities, this game can truly fit the playstyle of any person. And you can really pick and choose how you want your journey to look. And every step you take, every Pokemon you catch, every yen you make, it's all going to accumulate in one big snowball called progress. I will say the hardcore side of PokeMMO is not for the faint of heart. There's a reason there's a huge pipeline from RuneScape over to PokeMMO and vice versa. Both games are very similar in terms of the grind. I always say that there are two types of players when it comes to PokeMMO. There is one person who picks it up for 300 hours and really enjoys it, plays through all the storylines with friends, and then quits the game. And there's the other person who picks it up for a lifetime and grinds for the rarest of shinies and tries to get that illustrious 1 billion Pokeyen sack. But what is there to actually do in PokeMMO? First things first, you can play through Generations 1 through 5. You can seamlessly travel between each region via the SS Anne and various boat docks around each region. You can complete your Pokedex to be able to unlock Mount Silver in Johto, which gives you some of the best XP training, EV training, and shiny hunting spots in the game, which really incentivizes and rewards you for actually catching them all, which is something the Pokemon franchise traditionally has ran away from. You can discover niche training methods like using special attacking Rampardos being the best way to XP train here. You could fill your PC and boxes with tons of utility Pokemon, collect competitive Pokemon, whether to play or just to sit pretty, or you could hunt for a full box of OT shinies. You could start a service where you EV train and XP train Pokemon for other competitive players. You could catch and sell Pokemon because there is a really good breeding system, which makes it so that every single 31 IV has inherent value within the game. You could go compete over the King of the Hill style legendaries, which only one person can hold at one time. There's one of these types of legendaries in each region. Or you could go get the monthly rotational legendary, which exists in Johto and Kanto at the moment. The current permanently ownable legendaries consist of Entei, Suicune, Raikou, Articuno, Moltres, Zapdos, and technically Shaman if you count that as a legendary, but that one's only available once a year during the Lunar New Year event. There's a lot of fun exclusive stuff that rewards you for playing PokeMMO for a very long period of time, but there's also a ton of ways new players can jump in and expedite their progress tremendously. Now, I do want to quickly say that PokeMMO is not for everybody, and that's okay. That's why we're going to have more games to cover on this list. I always say that PokeMMO is the perfect game for the perfect person. You have to be able to set your own goals. The end game isn't a direct straight line like other MMOs. You don't have easy raids to go ahead and go do or some sort of end game PVM activity. That is coming soon, though. However, you do have to kind of set your own goals, make a notepad document or some sort of list of things you want to do within the game. I always compare it to old school Minecraft, where if you have a big list of things you want to create, like a big glass dome, a giant cobblestone castle in the sky, a brick railway, like if you can create these ideas in your head and write them down and have a plan and a list of things to do, you could play PokeMMO infinitely. If you're not someone who's really interested in setting your own goals, you're kind of tired after you come home from work, you don't really want to think about that, that's super fair. Let's jump into our next games that might be better for you. This next game is kind of the opposite of PokeMMO. There's much less grinding to it. It's all kind of just fun battles if you enjoy that sort of thing. This is Pokerogue, a strategic playhouse. PokeRogue is a Pokemon roguelike game where you go ahead and do a new game. You select 3 different starter Pokemon that you get to start with, and you kind of catch Pokemon along the way to unlock more of those. And this game is just endless battles. It's just strategy the entire time. If you like Nuzlocke and you like doing rare candies and XP candies to skip over all the grinding during those quote-unquote boring parts of Nuzlocke, this game is going to be for you. I also just find it super impressive how this game so seamlessly combines all generations 1 through 9. That's really impressive to me. After each battle, you get to pick an item, and that's going to help you in your future battles. You can even find shiny Pokemon and start manipulating your shiny luck once you get more shiny Pokemon. And you can start on wave 1, but this game goes all up to wave 5,000 or so, and then you can eventually run into endless mode and really break things. This is one of the most addicting Pokemon fan-made games I've seen pop up in quite a while. It's only been around for around a month as I'm recording this, and I saw people with 200 to 300 hours within the first 3 weeks of this game being released. Now, you can always save and quit any run whenever you want to if you need to take a break, or you could keep grinding to your heart's content. The really cool thing about PokeRogue as well, that it's all in browser. You don't have to download anything. It's super easy to have access to. It's all within your browser. You can go ahead and open it up, go to the website, create an account by just having a username and password. You don't even need an email to verify it. It's all extremely interesting, simple to get into, but really deep to learn, good fun. These fights here are obviously pretty simple since it's wave 5, but they can get pretty ridiculous. There's lots of long-term progress to look forward to, as well as a lot of things carry over. You can go into the achievements page and see stuff here. Continuing through the menu, you can see stats and see your playtime, your shiny Pokemon, species caught. This game has more stats than any traditional Pokemon game that I've ever seen. I can't recommend trying out PokeRogue enough, since it's just one of the easiest on this list, probably the easiest to just jump into and test. Next up, number 3 on our list is going to be PokeWilds. Now, I honestly didn't play this game for more than probably 3 to 5 hours. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but it's a really cool game, and I think it has a really hardcore, dedicated niche audience. And if this game fits the theme for you, it's going to be fantastic, so I have to recommend it. PokeWilds is a very old school, as you can see, like Gen 2 art style Pokemon game, open world, survival based. Think Minecraft, think Ark, think these kind of open world survival based RPG games where you can go around, explore things. There's tons of things to learn for the first time. There's these overworld Pokemon, there's these wild Pokemon you can encounter in the grass. You can build your own house in a Pokemon game. It actually ended up adding multiplayer, a patch after I played it and tried it. Your different Pokemon have different abilities, like Machop having the access to build, so you can actually use resources you farm like wood and stone to create houses and structures. There's a lot to this game, a lot to explore. There's like this Ariados boss here on the map that you can actually get the strength up to eventually fight. There's a lot to explore in this super deep game, but it does take a lot of patience, and it may not be for everybody. There's survival elements like having a sleeping bag to make sure you actually get proper rest. I'm assuming there's like a food element. I didn't get that far, obviously, but once again, check out PokeWilds if this sounds interesting to you. Everybody should try it out. Probably not going to be for everybody, but that's okay. I've heard it's a fantastic game. Now, this is where the nostalgia hits me. On number 4 on our list, we have Pokemon Tower Defense 1 and 2. If you haven't played these Pokemon fan-made games, you're either number 1, super young, or number 2, living under a rock. These games were phenomenal. They were actually taken down a few years back, but you can re-download them and play them on your own local computer. However, unfortunately, if you had a really nice decked out account with tons of shinies, it is gone. The servers went down. You'll have to restart from scratch, but it's worth it. This game is so fun. It's an absolute blast. Who could have thought just combining the Pokemon that you already love, the species, giving them abilities, giving them attacks, and putting it in a tower defense setting could be so ridiculously satisfying. There's also a legitimately hilarious storyline sort of weaved into this, and I can't tell you enough, or I can't warn you enough, this game is hard. This game is a ridiculous grind. If you thought PokeMMO was a grind, get ready. This game makes you grind. You're gonna have to play the same level multiple times to get XP and level up your Pokemon. There's some really cute tutorials in game, a really nice UI, really simple stuff. You can speed the game up to 4 times speed, grind a little bit quicker. But if you grind at higher speeds, you're more likely to lose a shiny Pokemon, so you do have to be on edge for that. You put your Pokemon down in one of a couple designated spots. They have a little bit of an AoE range, and then Pokemon start flooding in, and you start attacking them with different attacks that you can select. Typing matters. There's level ups and training. You can teach your Pokemon different TMs, HMs, and other moves. And things just start to become pretty hectic pretty darn fast. This is just an absolute childhood classic for me. I really can't recommend you checking out Pokemon Tower Defense 1 or and 2 enough. They're just phenomenally well-made games. I just can't warn you enough about how this game will have you pulling your hair out in frustration, being stuck on the same level for weeks at a time. But if you can push through and eventually defeat that level, it is the most satisfying, incredible experience. In short, go play Pokemon Tower Defense. They're incredible games and kind of relics of the past in the Pokemon fan-made game genre. And I don't think they deserve to be forgotten. They're just genuinely great and still stand up today. Next up is kind of a controversial one to put on this list. Calling this a Pokemon fan-made game is a little funny because, in my opinion, it's honestly more akin to something like Ark Survival Evolved than it's going to be to an actual Pokemon game. But I really do think that Palworld is an incredible game and a really, really fun experience for 1 to 200 hours. Now, currently the end game does kind of trail off, and I think a lot of people play it for those 1 to 200 hours, sort of feel complete and then sort of move on. But there's nothing wrong with that. Paying $20 or $30 for a game and getting 1 to 200 hours of enjoyment out of it, that's a pretty damn good deal if you ask me. I think Palworld got too much hate as sort of being a Pokemon like sort of copy, when in reality it's really a copy of a ton of different games. It takes great survival systems from 30 to 50 different games and puts them all into one with the Pokemon, or I guess monster catching aspect. Don't let the haters make you shy away from Palworld. It is a really, really fun game and a really fun experience. I could gush about the map design and sort of under like the table sort of development decisions that they made that I think are really respectable all day. It kind of became known as Pokemon with guns, which is really flashy and eye-catchy, but doesn't really describe or give the respect to what a good game Palworld just is. I don't think this game needed a gimmick to succeed, but I think the gimmick it had sort of propelled it into stardom a little bit more. Now, Palworld is probably one of the only games, if not the only game, you do have to pay for on this list, so that's something to consider. I think it's around $30 or so on Steam. But Steam sales are pretty large and abundant, so always check out for that. And I think it really comes down to if you're okay with spending $30 for 200 hours or so of really fun gameplay, then I think it's worth it for you. And there's always more to be added in the future. I know that they've been teasing or planning to finally reveal what that giant tree is supposed to be for on the map. Pokemon fan-made games like this are pretty fun as well because you have a bunch of new species to explore. In a lot of other Pokemon fan-made games like PokeMMO, PokeWilds, PokeRogue, you're just seeing the same, Pokemon, traditional Pokemon species that you know and love. In this game, you get to explore and meet a lot of new fellas. Now, some days you may prefer that, some days you may prefer just sticking to your old traditional guys. It's kind of up to you. But if you like resource collecting, chopping down wood, mining for iron, getting things efficiently sorted, if you enjoy games like Factorio, Satisfactory, Ark, Rust, things like that in a monster catching format, you're going to love Palworld. Now, I'm going to be super honest with you guys. I haven't played this next game on my list at all, which is why it's kind of just a light mention, but I got to talk about Cobblemon. Cobblemon is just sort of the new age Pixelmon of Pokemon, so it's the new best way from what I've heard to combine Minecraft and Pokemon, which are just two classic games, two fan favorites together, and I've heard it's a really great experience. I really can't talk more on it than that, but I think it deserved a spot on this list to at least be mentioned and let people know, hey, maybe go check out Cobblemon. I'd love to check it out one day as well once I have the time to, but until then, go check out one of these other fantastic videos from some really high-end creators. This is kind of a funny one to have on this list, and I think everybody watching has probably heard of this, but this is Pokemon Showdown. It's been around for a long time now. Everybody played Pokemon Showdown when it came out. It was a massive, massive deal. It's not really much of a Pokemon fan-made game as it is the best Pokemon battle simulator. If you want to get good at Pokemon, if you want to become the best in the world, you better be grinding on Pokemon Showdown. There is no grinding in terms of acquiring your Pokemon. There's no overworld. There's no PvM, PvE. It's just building your team, choosing your stats, selecting what items you want, selecting what Pokemon you want, selecting EV spreads, IVs, whatever. You get to just manually pump everything into the game, and then you battle other people in PvP. That's it. That's Pokemon Showdown. It is a battle simulator to become better at PvP. I think if you consider yourself a Pokemon fan, you've probably played Pokemon Showdown at one point or another. And if you haven't, what are you doing? Go play. You can play it in browser. You can download it. You can create an account super quickly. It's a lot of fun. It's a great way to be humbled and realize how much you suck at Pokemon PvP. But it's also the best way to improve. The battles are pretty fast and can be sped up, and a lot of the players play pretty quickly. You can also play any format you could imagine, from Generation 1 OU to Gen 2, Gen 3. You can even do different subcategories often with like Gen 3 or Gen 5 NU popping up sometimes. You can play things like randoms. You can play ZU. Whatever Pokemon format you've ever imagined, it probably exists on Pokemon Showdown. And that's it. That's my list. If you think I missed anything, let me know in the comments down below. I love keeping an eye on upcoming Pokemon fan-made games. If you have anything I missed, once again, leaving more in the comments could never hurt. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. It helps out tremendously if it was helpful or you enjoyed your time here. Dislike if not, that's okay. Subscribe to the channel for daily videos. That's right, I upload videos every single day on Pokemon fan-made games, usually PokeMMO, but if you're interested in seeing something else, just let me know. You can follow me on Twitch. I stream Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET. My Discord's linked down below if you're interested in something like that. And if you want to go above and beyond and support my channel, allow me to make fun projects like this, YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, and PayPal/Venmo donations allow me to do this and go a very long way. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Peace, Reno. Hey, thanks so much for watching the entire video all the way to the end. I really appreciate that, and I hope it was a positive asset to your day. And I also want to quickly say extra thank you to everybody whose name is on this list and goes above and beyond and allows me to do what I do. Thank you very much. Have a good one.